Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're exploring the book How to Talk to Anyone by Leil Lowndes. This book is a treasure trove of advice and techniques to help you succeed in communication, no matter who you're talking to, whether it's in a casual setting, a professional meeting, or even with a complete stranger. The fundamental idea of this book is that communication is not something you're born good at or bad at, it's something you can improve. This is important because the way we communicate often determines how successful we are in different areas of life. Whether you're trying to make new friends, succeed in business, or strengthen your relationships, the way you speak and how you connect with others plays a major role in these outcomes. Lowndes doesn't believe that only certain people are naturally good at communication. Instead, she thinks that everyone can become better at it by learning the right techniques and practicing them consistently. One of the most important things she teaches is that great communicators are great listeners. When you really listen to someone, you're showing them that they matter, and that can have a huge impact on how they feel about you. Lowndes' book takes us through the journey of mastering these skills in a way that's accessible to everyone. It doesn't matter if you consider yourself an introvert, shy, or socially awkward. Lowndes' tips are designed to be practical and easy to follow, which means anyone can put them into practice and see improvements. The first big takeaway is that people aren't necessarily impressed by what you say, they're impressed by how you make them feel. This is a key theme that runs throughout the entire book. When you're talking to someone, whether it's a new acquaintance, a business associate, or a close friend, it's not just the content of your words that matters, it's the emotional impact you have. Lowndes explains that one of the main goals of good communication is to make people feel valued, heard, and appreciated. This requires a shift in focus from yourself to the person you're talking to. Instead of worrying about how you come across, focus on how you can make the other person feel good during the interaction. This mindset change is the first step toward becoming a more effective communicator. Lowndes also stresses the importance of developing an open and warm body language. According to her, nonverbal communication accounts for a huge portion of how people perceive you during conversations. This includes your facial expressions, eye contact, posture, and even how you move your hands while talking. You could be saying all the right words, but if your body language is closed off, defensive, or distracted, it's going to send the wrong message. A relaxed, confident, and open posture makes people feel at ease and more likely to want to talk to you. One of the simplest ways to do this is to maintain good eye contact and smile genuinely. Smiling is one of the easiest ways to make yourself appear more approachable and friendly. It helps break down barriers and makes the other person feel more comfortable. However, the smile must be genuine. People can tell the difference between a real smile and a forced one. A real smile reaches your eyes, so make sure that when you smile, you are expressing genuine warmth toward the other person. One of the most effective techniques Lowndes offers is what she calls mirroring. This is the practice of subtly matching the other person's body language, tone, and pace of speech. The idea is that people naturally feel more comfortable around those who are like them, so if you mirror someone's behavior in a conversation, it helps create a subconscious bond. For example, if the person you're talking to is speaking slowly and softly, you might slow down your speech and soften your tone to match theirs. If they're using more animated gestures, you can match their energy by becoming more expressive with your own body language. The key is to do this subtly so it doesn't come off as mimicking or insincere. When done correctly, mirroring can help build rapport quickly because it creates a sense of connection between you and the other person. The other person might not even consciously notice that you're doing it, but they will feel a greater sense of comfort and trust around you. Lowndes also explains the importance of learning how to ask good questions. People love talking about themselves and their experiences, and one of the best ways to make a strong impression in any conversation is to be genuinely interested in what the other person has to say. Asking open-ended questions, rather than simple yes or no questions, encourages the person to open up and share more. This makes the conversation flow more naturally and creates opportunities for you to connect on a deeper level. For example, instead of asking, "Did you like the event?" you could ask, "What was your favorite part of the event?" The second question invites the person to share their thoughts and feelings, which helps keep the conversation going. Lowndes encourages readers to develop the habit of being curious about others. This means paying attention to their interests, hobbies, and experiences, and asking questions that show you're interested in learning more about them. This can help you connect with people on a more personal level and makes them feel valued. Another interesting idea that Lowndes talks about is the importance of using people's names when you're speaking to them. Hearing our own name is one of the sweetest sounds to our ears, and it helps us feel recognized and acknowledged. By using someone's name in conversation, you're showing that you see them as an individual and not just a generic person. This can help build a sense of connection and make the interaction feel more personal. However, it's important not to overdo it. Saying someone's name too often in conversation can come off as insincere or awkward. The key is to use their name naturally at appropriate moments, such as when greeting them or emphasizing a point. Lowndes also talks about the importance of storytelling in communication. Humans are naturally drawn to stories, and when you can weave a compelling story into your conversation, it becomes more engaging and memorable. Stories help illustrate your points and make your message more relatable. Lowndes suggests practicing telling stories that are concise and to the point, as rambling or getting lost in details can lose the listener's attention. The goal is to capture their interest with a clear beginning, middle, and end. The best stories evoke emotion, whether that's humor, sympathy, or surprise. Sharing personal anecdotes, especially ones that highlight your vulnerabilities or challenges, can also help build a deeper connection with the person you're talking to, as it makes you seem more relatable and human. One of the challenges that many people face in social situations is dealing with awkward silences. Lowndes offers several techniques to help navigate these uncomfortable moments. One strategy is to have a few go-to topics in mind that you can bring up if the conversation starts to lull. These could be light, neutral subjects like recent movies, travel experiences, or interesting news stories. The key is to keep the conversation flowing without putting too much pressure on yourself or the other person. Another technique Lowndes suggests is acknowledging the silence with a light-hearted comment like, "Well, that was a quiet moment." This can help break the tension and often leads to a laugh, which helps move the conversation forward. The main thing to remember is that silences are natural, and they don't have to be something to fear. By staying calm and composed, you can steer the conversation back on track without it becoming awkward. Another valuable lesson from the book is learning how to gracefully exit conversations that have run their course. We've all been in situations where a conversation has gone on longer than necessary, and it can be tricky to end it without seeming rude or abrupt. Lowndes offers strategies for making a smooth exit without offending the other person. One tactic is to express gratitude for the conversation, such as saying, "It's been really great talking to you," followed by a polite excuse to leave, like, "I've got to catch up with someone else," or "I need to head out soon." The key is to be polite and respectful while signaling that the conversation is coming to an end. If done correctly, this allows both parties to move on without any awkwardness. Lowndes also touches on the idea of handling criticism with grace. Nobody enjoys being criticized, but how you respond to criticism can have a big impact on your relationships and social interactions. When someone gives you constructive feedback, it's important not to get defensive or react emotionally. Instead, take a deep breath, listen to what they have to say, and respond thoughtfully. If the criticism is valid, thank them for the feedback and show that you're open to improving. If you feel the criticism is unfair, you can calmly explain your perspective without getting into a heated argument. The key is to remain composed and focus on finding a resolution, rather than letting the situation escalate into a confrontation. Empathy plays a huge role in successful communication, and Lowndes emphasizes its importance throughout the book. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person, and it's essential for building strong, meaningful relationships. When you show empathy, you're demonstrating that you care about the other person's emotions and that you're willing to listen without judgment. This helps build trust and encourages people to open up to you. Practicing empathy means being attuned to both the verbal and nonverbal cues that people give you, such as their tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. If someone seems upset or stressed, for example, you might acknowledge their feelings with a simple "I can tell you're having a tough day" or "that sounds really frustrating." This shows that you're paying attention and that you're concerned about their well-being. Another key element of good communication is avoiding gossip and negative talk. While it can be tempting to join in on conversations where people are criticizing or talking negatively about someone else, Lowndes warns against this behavior. Not only does gossip damage your reputation, but it also creates a negative atmosphere that can hurt relationships in the long run. Instead, focus on being positive and uplifting in your conversations. If someone starts gossiping around you, you can subtly change the subject or steer the conversation in a more positive direction. This not only helps you maintain a good reputation, but it also makes people more likely to want to be around you because they know you won't engage in harmful or negative talk. In terms of professional communication, Lowndes offers advice on how to navigate the world of business relationships. One of the key points she makes is the importance of networking and building a strong professional network. This isn't just about handing out business cards or connecting with people on LinkedIn. It's about forming genuine relationships with people who can help you grow in your career and who you can also help in return. Lowndes suggests attending networking events and approaching people with a mindset of curiosity and generosity, rather than focusing solely on what you can gain from the relationship. When it comes to networking, Lowndes highlights the importance of being genuinely interested in others. Instead of thinking about how someone might be useful to you, approach networking with the intention of building authentic connections. Ask people about their careers, their interests, and what motivates them. When you show a sincere interest in what someone else is passionate about, it creates a much stronger bond than simply exchanging business information or trying to make a transaction. Lowndes also talks about the importance of following up after networking events. It's not enough to simply meet someone and exchange pleasantries. You need to take the next step and keep the connection alive. This could be as simple as sending a polite email thanking them for the conversation or inviting them to grab coffee and continue the discussion. Building a network is about consistency and nurturing relationships over time. Lowndes also delves into the concept of small talk, which many people dread but is actually an essential component of effective communication. According to Lowndes, small talk is not meaningless chatter. It's a way to build rapport with someone and create a foundation for a deeper conversation. Small talk serves as a social lubricant, easing the tension in conversations with strangers or acquaintances, and helping to establish common ground. It might feel trivial, but it's actually an important step in forming connections with people. The key to good small talk is to be engaged and show that you're interested in what the other person has to say. You can ask light, open-ended questions about neutral topics like the weather, recent events, or something you observe about your surroundings. Lowndes emphasizes that the goal of small talk isn't to dive into deep conversations right away. It's to create a comfortable atmosphere where the conversation can naturally evolve into something more meaningful. Another crucial part of communication, according to Lowndes, is learning how to handle rejection. Rejection is an inevitable part of life, especially in social situations. Whether you're asking someone out, trying to make a new friend, or pitching an idea at work, there's always a chance that the other person might say no. Lowndes explains that the key to handling rejection gracefully is to not take it personally. People's reactions to you are often more about them than they are about you. Maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe they're simply not interested in what you have to offer. That's okay. Instead of letting rejection damage your confidence, use it as an opportunity to learn and grow. If someone isn't receptive to your approach, don't be discouraged, move on and try again with someone else. The more you practice putting yourself out there, the easier it will become to brush off rejections and keep moving forward. Lowndes also emphasizes the importance of confidence in communication. Confidence doesn't mean being loud or overbearing. It means being comfortable with who you are and trusting that you have something valuable to contribute to the conversation. One of the ways to build confidence is by preparing ahead of time. If you're going into a social situation where you know you'll be meeting new people, it can help to have a few conversation starters or interesting anecdotes ready to go. This can ease the pressure of coming up with something on the spot and help you feel more relaxed. Additionally, Lowndes suggests practicing positive self-talk to build your confidence. If you constantly tell yourself that you're bad at conversations or that people won't like you, you're setting yourself up for failure. Instead, try focusing on your strengths and reminding yourself that you're capable of having meaningful, engaging conversations. One of the more advanced communication techniques that Lowndes discusses is learning how to read people's body language. Being able to accurately interpret someone's nonverbal cues can give you valuable insight into how they're feeling and what they're thinking, even if they're not saying it outright. For example, if someone crosses their arms and leans back during a conversation, it might indicate that they're feeling defensive or closed off. On the other hand, if they're leaning in and making good eye contact, it's a sign that they're engaged and interested in what you're saying. By paying attention to these subtle cues, you can adjust your approach in the conversation accordingly. If someone seems uncomfortable or disengaged, you might try changing the topic or asking them a question to re-engage them. Being attuned to body language can help you become a more intuitive and effective communicator. Lowndes also touches on the importance of humor in communication. Humor is a powerful tool for building rapport, diffusing tension, and making conversations more enjoyable. When used appropriately, humor can help break the ice and create a more relaxed atmosphere. However, it's important to be mindful of the type of humor you use. Self-deprecating humor, for example, can be effective in small doses, but too much of it can make you seem insecure. Similarly, humor that targets others or comes across as mean-spirited can backfire and damage relationships. Lowndes suggests sticking to light, positive humor that puts people at ease and creates a sense of camaraderie. If you're unsure whether a joke will land, it's usually better to err on the side of caution and keep things lighthearted. Throughout the book, Lowndes also emphasizes the importance of emotional intelligence in communication. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. This is crucial for building strong relationships because it allows you to navigate social situations with empathy and awareness. People with high emotional intelligence are able to pick up on social cues, regulate their emotions, and respond to others in a way that is thoughtful and considerate. Lowndes suggests developing your emotional intelligence by practicing self-awareness. Pay attention to your own emotional triggers and how they affect your behavior in conversations. If you notice that you tend to get defensive or shut down in certain situations, try to address those patterns so that you can respond more effectively in the future. Emotional intelligence also involves being able to step into someone else's shoes and see things from their perspective. This helps you build empathy and fosters deeper connections with others. Lowndes also discusses the importance of clarity in communication. Misunderstandings often arise when we're not clear about our intentions or when we make assumptions about what the other person knows or thinks. To avoid confusion, it's important to be direct and explicit in your communication. This doesn't mean being blunt or overly harsh, it simply means being clear about what you want to say and ensuring that the other person understands you. For example, if you're making plans with someone, instead of saying "let's hang out sometime," you could say "let's grab coffee on Saturday at 3 p.m. This removes any ambiguity and makes it easier for the other person to respond. Clarity also involves being open to feedback and making sure that you're on the same page as the other person. If you're not sure whether someone has understood you, don't be afraid to ask for clarification or confirm that you're both in agreement. Another key aspect of communication that Lowndes emphasizes is the importance of patience. Sometimes conversations don't go as smoothly as we'd like, and it can be tempting to rush through them or get frustrated when things aren't going our way. However, effective communication requires patience and a willingness to let the conversation unfold naturally. This is especially important when you're dealing with difficult or sensitive topics. Instead of trying to force a resolution or push the other person to agree with you, give them space to process their thoughts and respond in their own time. Patience also involves being willing to listen, even when you disagree with what the other person is saying. By showing that you're willing to hear them out, you're creating an environment of trust and respect, which is essential for productive communication. Lowndes also stresses the importance of enthusiasm in communication. People are naturally drawn to those who are passionate and enthusiastic about what they're talking about. When you speak with energy and excitement, It makes the conversation more engaging and enjoyable for the other person. Enthusiasm is contagious, and it helps to create a positive atmosphere. However, Lowndes advises that you should be mindful of the other person's energy levels and adjust your enthusiasm accordingly. If someone seems tired or overwhelmed, you might want to dial it down a bit so that you're not overwhelming them. The key is to match your energy to the situation while still maintaining a positive and engaging demeanor. Another important takeaway from the book is the power of giving compliments. Compliments are a great way to build rapport and make the other person feel appreciated. However, Lowndes warns that not all compliments are created equal. Generic or insincere compliments can come across as flattery and might actually have the opposite effect of what you intend. Instead, focus on giving specific and genuine compliments that show you've put thought into what you're saying. For example, instead of saying "you're so smart," you might say, "I really admire how you handled that situation with such grace and intelligence." This type of compliment feels more personal and meaningful, which helps to strengthen the connection between you and the other person. Finally, Lowndes talks about the importance of staying positive in your conversations. People are naturally drawn to those who have a positive outlook on life and who make them feel good. When you bring a positive attitude to your conversations, it helps to lift the mood and makes people more likely to enjoy being around you. This doesn't mean that you have to be overly cheerful all the time or avoid discussing difficult topics, but it does mean focusing on solutions rather than problems and maintaining an optimistic outlook whenever possible. If you're in a conversation that starts to take a negative turn, try to steer it back in a more positive direction by highlighting the silver lining or offering a constructive perspective. If you found this summary helpful, don't forget to subscribe to BookBank Summaries for more detailed breakdowns of popular books. Thank you, FO.